But let me just start by saying happy Christmas Hanukkah Wanzika to everyone. And the season of light, the solstice is tomorrow or the next day. And here we are at the end of, I would just leave that a blank and let you characterize 2020 as you please, because it's been different things to different people, right? For some of us, it's been an opportunity to really hunker down in our caves and get an enormous amount of work done. For others, these frontline caregivers, it's been even more stressful than for other people who have just had to lock down in their homes. It's been a time of tremendous growth for the Mind Mirror, not so much in Mind Mirror sales, because of course the economic woes of this year have impacted so many people, but with Oksana's and Andrew's help, we've come such a long ways, and we're going to start out by showing you a slideshow. Oksana is going to put it on, and just to say how proud we are of the things that were accomplished this year. They all, of course, are a path to next year as well. Oksana has done her usual stunning job with the artwork here. And yes, indeed, this is our review webinar, 5 years online. You know, Oksana, being located there in, I don't want to say hippie heaven, Australia, but she's on a mountain in a rainforest above Byron Bay. And she, during her practitioner training, or maybe a bit after, volunteered to do this work of the webinars, which would not be possible without her organizational skills. I mean, she does everything from getting the notices out to creating the video recordings and facilitating everything here. And this 5 years, Oksana, we may be muted, but I think you can see us all clapping and say thank you. This is entirely due to you. It wouldn't be possible without you. We thank you and bless you for it. We had a vision of a platform that would bring together people scattered across the globe, old and new Mind Mirror practitioners and self-trainers, everyone interested in meditation and biofeedback. And this is probably a good place to say that a lot of people, as you may have noticed, attend these webinars and are not Mind Mirror owners. They're people who are just interested in the transformation of consciousness. And sometimes we have webinars with 40 and 50 people, once even over 100 people, and they're just watching what we do and happy to have them. Who are we? Psychologists, psychotherapists, coaches, medical doctors, nurses, social workers, all kinds of alternative health practitioners and health practitioners, musicians, singers, photographers, artists, writers, teachers, speakers, authors, and of course, a lot of technical people, engineers, mathematicians, software developers, and business entrepreneurs. I love the technical people because they're the ones who tend to advance the software. Some years ago, David Fairweather said, "Who are we? We're the best people in the world." So we'll take him at his word and say, yes, that these are our characteristics. There's a lot of intelligence and creativity. People are multi-talented, as you know from these rollicking webinars. Everyone has a really great sense of humor, awakened minds, coherent hearts, with a passion, great wisdom, and experience to share. Thank you. Oksana says so, I say so, we say so to each other. A big thank you to all of you for joining us and helping things move along. Indeed, you do make it happen. And you get, as on the next slide, a gold star, even a star full of gold stars. And this slide is saying that 25 people have taken out that $150 a year membership, which just helps us pay miscellaneous costs. I mean, Oksana spends an enormous amount of time. There's no way these memberships could possibly repay her, but it's really great. A lot of our webinars are free. Some of them are paid, and so those people support those paid webinars. 80 videos in our IAM collection, a tremendous resource on everything from biofeedback and stress management to Mind Mirror, new Mind Mirror tools, but also programs, as you'll see, I think on the very next slide, a list of the programs we had this year: Global Peaceful Cities Project, the Portal, Oksana did a stunning series, Meditation, Spirituality, and Tools for Human Evolution with...
So his name is Vladimir Maikov. It's my teacher of transpersonal psychology who introduced me to Anna Weiss's work.
And we thank him for that, for sure. Yes, and that was really wonderful. This is an incredibly erudite and accomplished man. And that's, you see that those are two of the free webinars really well worth watching. And Oksana has all sorts of resources that go with them, like movies that he's produced that relate to consciousness. He's a real trailblazer. You know, right alongside Max K. Dana Wise, this kind of world-class thinker and creator. And then we did the Zen of Hard Times right after COVID, and did a program on healing, talked about healing, did a healing meditation. And then once Andrew had the Mind Mirror portal up and running, then we had the group monitoring facilities. So then began the intentional coherence meditation, where he live streamed the brainwaves of people in different parts of the world into the portal so that they could be simultaneously monitored. And the Monroe Institute joined us for that. That was plus Global Peaceful Cities did, and then we, Institute for the Awakened Mind, co-sponsored that, and it was really exciting. And the Monroe Institute is incredibly excited about it. At some point, there's a real strong possibility for online trainings for people in different parts of the world. Even if after COVID disappears, this is a possibility. Then we did a grand opening on the portal and the meditation center, the meditation viewer, and then In, Out, and Through, which was a really big deal. We're going to see a slide on that, but you may remember that this was, I Awake produced 3 of Anna Wise's meditations, took my recordings and put new music to it. And so this is the program where John Dupuy and Pam Parsons Dupuy, who's always in the background, but she's there working alongside John to produce this. And then, of course, Oksana's own program, Brainwaves of Australian Mediums, which was very heavily attended and watched with tremendous fascination. And we look forward to more of this next year. She can spin what her findings were off into many different directions, and undoubtedly will. And then here we are in the current webinar with our holiday bits and bobs. So these are the things that we accomplished in 2020. Wide variety, software, hookup, data processing, meditations. The first and foremost, the Mind Mirror portal. I mean, this was Andrew's idea, as you have heard me say by now so many times in Hong Kong. He says, I think we can do this. And I went, let's do it. And I named it Global Consciousness Network, bringing the Mind Mirror to the world, because I thought, you know, that is a great goal. That's a wonderful ideal or aspiration. The next thing we knew, he was creating this data streaming facility for intentional coherence meditations and healing meditations. And of course, the guided meditation program, which has opened up all kinds of things. We'll talk about that a little bit on the next slide. This is, you see Andrew, myself, and my daughter Rachel, who did so much work for the portal and also mostly the meditation center. This, I must say, is one of my photos from Australia, that pretty flower photo. Oksana, you may recognize that particular blooming plant. And then here's the recording studio that I worked in with this gentleman named Jim McGee. We recorded in 3 or 4 days, 54 meditations, and then added into the meditation center 8 classic meditations. And didn't really realize it at the time, but meditation center has been a game changer, not only because people who don't have a mind mirror and come from all over the world are buying those meditations, but also because people can actually hook themselves up for seminars 1, 2, and 3, 4, the meditations that are associated with each of those on their own, in their homes, import the data into the portal, and we look at it in Ballistis as well, because people need to learn how to use Ballistis. But I've been doing lots of practitioner trainings online, and anyone can do it. Any practitioner trainer can do this. So this was really quite a advancement, and just in terms of moving along the practitioner trainings that had to be suspended because of COVID. And do go and check out the Meditation Center. I'm very proud of it. Personally, I'm very proud of the whole website since I myself designed it, and I am not a designer. But I hope you will think so once you look in there. And then I mentioned this before, this is the screen that shows Esther, who for 4 different sessions was the healee, whereas Bethany Gagne and Andrew Tang were working at Bethany's home with healers Anne, Frank, Harold, and Jerry, and then Sri Kaitan in India was hooked up. And Gary suggested this Pearson R factor, so Andrew jumped on that to try to look for synchronization between their brain waves. And this is just, we got so busy with other things that we've just barely scratched the surface of the potential here. And we really welcome your own ideas, because this is an incredible facility. I mean, just think about it. Jason, you can hook up in Ireland, Lionel in Los Angeles, Garth in Virginia or North Carolina, wherever you are nowadays, Garth, and we can see all your brainwaves simultaneously. You can do experiments like, are we synchronizing? Can we synchronize? Can we go up into gamma at the same time? I mean, just a indescribable number of potentials here, and really exciting, and I hope you agree. And of course, exciting for the healees too. I might add that Esther had, after I think it was the 4th meditation, a day free from pain, a whole day free from pain for the first time in many years as the result of a stroke. And she was located in, Suzanne Temple hooked her up in Holland. So she's a Dutch woman. But a day free of pain meant the world to her. And then I mentioned this earlier. This is so incredibly exciting, partly because iAwake has 35,000 followers. So publishing in, out, and through in volumes 1 and 2 has really reached a lot of people. And I get a lot of emails from people interested in the awakened mind and practitioner training and buying a mind mirror. And those people tell other people, and these are perpetually on iAwake's website. And they just released volume 3 of the music only. The people like the music so much, devised the music for this, and has its own album, just the music. So, they're bringing the mind mirror to the world, and this is just fantabulous. Thank you, Pam and John. This is great. Oksana added these pictures. Arna, there you are with me in the training that we did. The first one I ever did for 5 practitioners simultaneously. We squeezed into my downstairs, and Andrea Pennington was there. She was actually filming it, and so was Christian Tejador. He was also there. I think Bethany was there as well. And we just had a rollicking good time, and it was such a joy to meet Andrea. She is an absolute powerhouse, a holistic physician, an acupuncturist, a Qigong energy healer. She was on one of our programs, and we all got a buzz while she was sending energy. She's a best-selling author. She's been on Oprah several times, and an international teacher and speaker. And she asked me, and I think also asked Darna, we can ask him to write a chapter, or you might have been excluded, Arna, because I do believe that this first book on holistic healing was all by women. Turned out to be an Amazon. Are you in it?
I wrote my piece and then retracted it. I wasn't ready for that. There's so much more to come, and I knew during the process that's way too early.
Beautiful, yeah, plenty of time for that.
Her and myself, but it didn't feel right. But I still have it on my computer files.
That's great. I would love yours to be in an energy healing book. That would work really beautifully for you. So I wrote the chapter, and then she interviewed me in a video that is now up on YouTube and Facebook and her website. And also she is putting it up on a website with a translation of the interview on the Huffington Post website, which is Thrive Global. And I don't know if people outside the US know about the Huffington Post, but they're a major source of news in this country, probably the world, since I'm sure they're international in scope for English speakers. And so this is, again, bringing the mind mirror to the world. She also is a practitioner trainee, and she has all kinds of plans for opening up clinics and using the mind mirror in them, and which would be absolutely spectacular. Being a medical doctor, I wouldn't be a bit surprised if they ended up being medical clinics as well as related to like stress reduction and normal personal transformation stuff. Thank you, Andrea. This was, I mean, I added this in because this was a big deal for me. I spent weeks recently upgrading the Velistis Mind Mirror 6 user manual due to a couple of new additions. And also, I made it much more visual in terms of screenshots. Somehow, I don't know how, it's the same link that it was before, maybe a page or two more, but it's just more packed with visuals, easier to read. I kind of rearranged a good bit of it. And then I redid the Awakened Mind Self-Training Guide and renamed it the Mind Mirror Self-Training Guide. And did the same sort of thing. I condensed the content, but also at the same time expanded it so that there are more tips and techniques for self-training each of the brainwave patterns. And then because this Huffington Post thing with Andrea and on Thrive Global, she said, do you want to give something away for free? And I said, yeah, drive them right to the website. So uploaded now on mindmirrorportal.com, as well as Institute for the Awakened Mind, is this meditation experience textbook, which is 67 pages long. I used it to train people attending my meditation classes in community colleges and universities, like years and years ago. So I spent several weeks updating it, and it's now up on our website. It's really geared to silent meditation. It doesn't have much mention of brainwaves, except that everything relates to brainwaves. For those of us who know that, we'll see the foundation of it all. But it's really more about a silent meditation practice from the heart to the spirit. And I really like it. Sandra Hyde is doing us the great honor of creating a professional table of contents for these two guys, and I'm going to try to talk her into doing a professional table of contents for this one. Sandra worked for corporations, and she is an absolute wizard in all things related to Word, and whereas my table of contents tend to be ... space, number, up, erase that space, ... number, and they all end up like this. It's been driving me crazy for years, so I'm thrilled that you will get very clean manuals that are much improved in the content. Oh, Oksana, take it away, will you?
Oh, yes. I had a program which was based on my study of Australian mediums. It was a great opportunity for me, which I didn't plan for myself. It was kind of organized by some higher forces for me to go in that direction, since I have always been interested in intuition and psychic abilities. So here I am. And first, I invite you to visit Eureka Times, the last issue that we did this year. With my article devoted to my findings, and then you will see the same study published in Mind Mirror Studies page. And then, of course, I did a big program last month to show you what my findings were. So I recommend this program because I think I did a good overview of, in general, of how Mind Mirror presents the brainwaves, the unique features of the Mind Mirror. Plus, I hope I managed to pick a few interesting things besides obvious ones about how mediums work, you know, the dynamics of the patterns that they produce, specifics of each of the brainwave categories, you know, especially say alpha with eyes open, or like shown in this picture, abnormally, you know, large independent seeking out theta bands, which you can see are basically twice bigger than the rest of the brain waves. And this normally happens when they say they hold the connection or they're connecting with the spirit. So, and of course, so I was talking about very strong delta as a psychic masculine tool and some abnormal interest in behavior of gamma. So I invite you to watch what we have, read what we have, and I hope to have more programs next year, and maybe even one day develop a full-on training on intuition and psychic development. I'm brewing this project, and I have a few already psychic readers and mediums who are willing to be interviewed and potentially even cooperate in developing a proper training.
Fantastic, Oksana. And we're really looking forward to future programs too. I have so much respect for people who sit in front of cameras and talk to the camera, all these news people. I have more trouble with videos, and yet managed to redo all of the Mind Mirror instructional videos this year, and then did a set of videos on how to use the portal and the how-to videos page of the portal. It's just excruciating for me, and you'll see how excruciating before this program's over. And an even more excruciating video showing the new hookup. I'm better behind the camera and behind the written word, so I hope that it's acceptable enough to be tolerable. One of these Andrew did inside the portal, record and upload a session, watch a 2-minute video, and he is just as smooth as glass. So some got it, some ain't, but I did the best I could, and I hope they will serve you well.
So Judith, let me add maybe that we do have these free Mind Mirror instructional videos in our video gallery, so they are available for you to refresh what you might already know from the Ballistas Mind Mirror manual. So if you prefer to watch a few minutes video rather than read a manual, you can do this. So it's a brilliant work and hard work done by Judith. Hopefully nicely organized. My apologies if some links, you know, go wrong or disappear. I fixed all the links today. So if you find anything, any bugs on any of the websites, you're very welcome to send me a short email and I'll fix it immediately. And yes, thank you to Andrew. The very last video, number 13, it's the one on the Mind Mirror portal. I think many people will be very willing to revisit that video and more than once.
Well, and this is the latest thing that got done. In fact, people in my family are downstairs assembling these kits as we speak. The dry electrode hookup is now available, and we are going to actually watch that video. So the plan for this program is we're going to go straight from this slideshow to watch my excruciating little video, and then we're going to hear from you, questions, thoughts. Hopefully you'll talk about your plans for and dreams for 2021, maybe what this year has brought you. It has brought me the opportunity to hook up more often and listen to these guided meditations in the portal. I tell you, up until now, it's just been, oh, I want to see if I do this, that, or other, and hook up, and not so excruciating.
If you like, Judith, I may finish the presentation quickly and then we go to the video, okay?
Yes.
Would you prefer that?
That'd be great.
So here we are, and I just want to mention, yeah, we had 12 issues of Eureka Times, and then there were people, if you like to speak more about practitioners.
So, you know, we haven't seen much of Jessica, if at all, on these webinars, but I have to say she is just the most wonderful person. She's actually a bit of a natural medium. She's based in Philadelphia. She came and did her practitioner training with Suzanne Temple, who is a professional teacher of mediums, and then another teacher of mediums, so they were all three here together, and we just had the most wonderful training. And she's just a lovely person, graduate of Temple University, licensed professional counselor. She takes on the hard stuff, anxiety, depression, trauma. And I love this quote she gave: "Guided meditation with the mind mirror allows me to deliver a service to clients above and beyond. I find that it takes time to bring people to the point where they heal. Mind mirror is instantaneous. It's unparalleled for people to walk out after a session with that kind of progress." That's really beautiful. And she is too. You'll love her. She's going to do a case folio next year. So you'll be able to meet her and take a look at some of her work. Arna, this is nowhere near as pretty a picture as you are. Arna is right now in Berlin. He'd been in the US for several, I think, years. Internationally known medical researcher, heart math trainer, an energy healer who can even stop woodpeckers from pecking on my house. And his intention at the time we were talking about this is to self-evolve and help others to do so. Arna, do you want to add anything to that?
A big thank you for giving that opportunity. I really, when we were having our 4th week of training, which ended up to be a one-to-one with you, and I woke up one night at 4 a.m., my typical morning hours for meditations, and I was just seeing my hand going over the blanket cover, and there were all kind of lights and sparkling lights. That was a real transformation, which I experienced during the training with Judith. And my healing capabilities have changed dramatically after taking the 4 weeks with you, in a way that I'm really now, I have no doubts anymore being connected to the field. And there were always some doubts, which led to some ego coming into the healings, and that all disappeared. And so I'm incredibly grateful for that training. So I'm waiting for all the new stuff, including the headband, to really get it going here. I have a list of people lined up for wanting to be measured, and these are CEOs of smaller companies, and these are other leaders in different fields who are excited about that opportunity. So I can't wait to really start it in 2021. And big thanks to you, Judith, and Oksana, also for what you're doing here. So thank you.
Thank you, Arna. It's such a joy to connect with you every single time. There's such a dear sweetheart doing the work for the world and loving every minute of it and bringing joy. Thank you. And you guys know Andrew. He's been the star of the Institute for the Awakened Mind this year. And then I have a later slide where in relation to which Andrew is going to speak. This one, I just want to say, congratulations, newly minted this month, practitioner Andrew Tang. He's based in New Jersey. He has a company called Quantum Healing Hypnosis, and a software company called Avier Tech. He works with major people, companies, and is, of course, known best to us as the developer of the magical, mystical mind mirror portal. What the other slide relates to, that where Andrew's going to say a few words, is that one of his entrepreneurial projects is the Institute for the Awakened Mind Asia Pacific, where he is literally taking this all over the world. And this is incredibly exciting. Since we're already on this slide, Andrew, do you want to unmute and say a little bit about IAM Asia Pacific?
Hey, Judith and Oksana. Hey, everyone. Sure. First of all, it's all very exciting information I'm hearing from, and a fantastic presentation. And also, thank you, Judith, for your support, guidance, and patience. And also, thank you, Oksana, for your patience in testing the portal as well all this time. So I'm very excited to become a practitioner, I mean a trainer, and I can only say that learning has just started for me. There's so much to learn about it. And regarding the Institute for Awakened Mind Asia Pacific, I'm teaming up with somebody in New Zealand, and she has a lot of connections with the Chinese market. And so we are going to explore that market. So for me, I'm going to be making a lot of short marketing videos in both languages, really, in both languages, to basically bring more awareness to the whole body of work related to awakened mind, all the work related to NLYs, Maxcade, and also whatever discoveries Judith has made. And I'm going to compiling, learning all that myself, and then expressing it in short videos, so to bring more awareness. And hopefully when we translate it into Chinese, then we're going to attract more attention in the China market. Really, for all the Chinese-speaking market worldwide, this doesn't have to focus on the China market, but China market initially anyway. So I'm very excited about this whole development and the potentials from all this development. So there you go. So 2021 is going to be an interesting year.
It will indeed. And it's very exciting because we had absolutely no potential, of course, for this moving into this Chinese market, which is absolutely massive. Andrew is also interested in working with people in Japan, finding Japanese partners, and also potentially Russian. We have a Russian partner here, don't we, Oksana?
Yes,
And
we have a person who is interested to become a Russian partner.
yes, indeed. And boy, we can talk some more about that a little bit later during this program, but this is mind-blowing in its potential. So Andrew, boy, if we could imagine you as a mineral, it certainly would be a diamond. Beautiful, multifaceted diamond. Yeah. Certified practitioners this year, Jessica, Arna, and Andrew. And then I just wanted to highlight some other people who are, one who is nearly certified, two who are nearly certified. And if you go forward to them, Bethany, she's so close. All she has to do is type up her meditations, but Bethany is in the middle of writing a book that's going to be published in August, which will feature the mind mirror as well as other subjects. It's called, Andrew, do you remember the name of it? I have it in my email. Anyway.
I'll look it up. I'll give you in a
Okay, great. He'll tell us the name, and we'll tell you more about it as she gets closer to it. But that's all. She'll be certified as soon as she types those meditations up. She is an absolute dynamo, powerhouse, biofeedback specialist, founder of this Global Peaceful Cities project that we did the intentional coherence meditations with. And she partners with scientists, to get real data about the effectiveness of these meditations. And her intention that she stated during her practitioner training is to do publishable medical research on the Peace Project, Global Cities Peace Project studies, and training states of consciousness, peak performance training for lawyers. I don't know how many of you are lawyers. I don't think any, but I suppose that they would really like that these days. Andrew, you got the name of that book?
Yes. The title is Become a Consciousness Athlete. Spiritual Technologies for Real-World Results, a step-by-step program to heightening consciousness for daily happiness.
Yes, beautiful. And Andrew and Bethany have been working very closely on these global monitoring things. So I expect there'll be some more of that in 2021. And then Fred Swann, what a dear he is. He's based in Melbourne, Australia, network chiropractor and network chiropractic, or his version of it actually, teacher. He does neurofeedback and biofeedback assessments in his office, which is the Tree of Life Integral Center. He has also an iAwake sound relaxation room where you lay back and listen to binaural beats. I met him through iAwake. And he plans to do Awakened Mind trainings for his patients and students. He's very much underway with that right now. He is working on his independent study work that's associated with certification as a practitioner. And he's seminar 4 and he's done. He'll be within a month certified. He's planning to start a mind mirror research hub there, and that's just really exciting. He's a combination of someone who has this full spectrum of intelligence all the way. You can see it in his eyes. He's got a big, big heart, a tremendous sense of humor, and a very mystical bent as a network chiropractor. He's very energy-based. In fact, one of his greatest interests, at least, is to correlate the layers and the levels of the energy field with the production of various brainwave categories and things like that. So yeah, he's mystical and mystic and a scientist as well. So this will be exciting to have Fred in our ranks. And then Sandra's here with us today. I included this picture of her pup, Shirley, who she has attended all of our online trainings. Sandra is another powerhouse. She zoomed through seminars 1 and 2 in November and October, took a month to do all of her 5 brainwave sessions on each of 5 people. And she's just done a stunning job coming out of the corporate world, just one of the most competent people I've ever met. And boy, can she write up meticulously presented and thoroughly comprehensive case study. Absolute one of the best I've ever seen. She comes out of 20 plus years as a corporate consultant. She encountered Anna Wise's work in early 2000 via McKinsey's use of it in leadership development. And maybe in a minute, Sandra, I'll ask you to say a little bit about that. She loves scuba diving and motorbike riding around India, the United States, and New Zealand. She's a very multi-talented person. Her intentions are to incorporate Awakened Mind work with teaching meditation, both locally and in the corporate world. She loves the richness of the data and how it can paint a fuller picture of what's really going on and how to best support people. You want to weigh in here, Sandra, and say anything else?
Hi, everyone. I'm super excited to be part of the community. It's blown my mind. I've also, like Ann, experienced leaps in my own development in the past few months, to which I'm deeply grateful. And I've had an absolute ball, Judith. It's just been such an honor to be able to train with you. Thank you so much. It's been such a joy. I've loved it. And Oksana, brilliant job on this and the work that you've done with mediums. The people who were part of my self-study just have lapped it up, and I think it will be pivotal in one of them making a career change from the corporate world and into being a medium. So that's been fundamental, huge. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Sandra. Can you say a little bit about McKinsey?
Yeah.
Because I had, Anna mentioned that somebody was teaching her work, but she didn't know much about what they were doing. And this is how you encountered us. So this could be interesting for people to hear.
Yeah, so McKinsey's twigged, so they had a leadership institute. This is back in the late 90s, early 2000s. And they basically took all of Anna Wise's work and called it the high performance leadership. and they have this big thick slide pack. I think I've got a copy of it, where they've just ripped all the information from Anna's books and put it into a context so that leaders wouldn't think that it's something airy-fairy and that it's concrete. And they would actually use the mind mirror. So I don't know who the practitioner was, like whether it was Anna herself, but I do, hang on. They would use the mind mirror and hook leaders up to it so that they could see the impact of their brainwaves and what was going on. They got people to facilitate these courses using Anna Wise's work, or their ripped off version of it, using, I would say, monks, people who have meditated for a very long time and were quite advanced. And they would use them to deliver the training all around the world. And I know some of those people. And one of the funny stories that I've heard is that one of the teachers, they hooked her up, one of the facilitators of the work, they hooked her up, and there was just nothing going on except for Delta. Like, she had nothing. And they were like, how do you get along in the world? And she said, very, very difficult.
She says sleepwalking. Oh, that's...
So she had nothing else going on. So that answered a few questions. So look, I'd love, what I'm going to do in January is hook those guys up. I know 2 of them. Who were doing this work, and it'd be great so that you could hear from them about the type of work that they were doing.
So exciting, Sandra. So happy that, well, and grateful to Mackenzie. I mean, Anna didn't really authorize it. She knew it was going on, but didn't authorize it. And but you know, she just kind of left alone and said, well, you know, and so I'm glad that she left it alone and it brought us to you. And Institute for the Awakened Mind Asia Pacific really wants to work with corporate world. So maybe, Andrew, there's some hook into that in terms of recommendations. We'll see. But in any case, thank you, and thanks, Shirley, for your beautiful presence. My daughter, Rachel Allman, has done all of her seminars, but she's still trying to work on her independent study work, largely because she has been so busy working for me. And I'm so grateful to her, because it's not just the Meditation Center album covers, it's 1,000 different projects that she's always ensconced in, amidst her own new business, Mindwave Artistry, that she started this year. And it's just, I can't even tell you, it's so much work that she does. Everything from the manual, the practitioner training manual. Her next job is to update some of the graphs explaining the different meanings of the different patterns. And on it goes. I'm lucky to have her, hopefully, as a permanent employee. Her intention, when she does do her independent study work, is to use Awakened Mind training and the Mind Mirror to help people with anxiety and addiction issues. So Paula, yeah, I expect she'll be talking to you when it comes to that, when she gets her independent study work done. She'd love to hear more. And then Lionel is here. Lionel, we've gone through this whole thing with his name. I think, Jason, you called him Lionel with a British-Irish accent, and I call him Lionel, like a Southerner. He calls himself Lionel. Oh, right. Well, we love him, and he's just been a real light. We'll ask him to comment, weigh in a few comments in a minute, and you'll see for yourself. He's based in Los Angeles, 22 years in the medical field, technical director of a hospital radiology unit that specializes in transcranial work, practices TM, Rosicrucian, energy healing, and Qigong, sees the mind as a transmitter receiver, and talks all about fields, that everything, he's really down into the subtle energy intersection with material reality. So he's an absolute joy to talk to. His intention is to help people in hospitals with stress reduction. What else, Lionel? Lionel, what would you like to say right now?
I think that pretty much sums it up. That about covers it. I also, we are a teaching facility. We are a teaching hospital. So I get a lot of interns, and the interns come in and they have a hard time with stress as well. So yeah, kind of stress reduction is where I would like to focus.
Beautiful. And no doubt you will expand their horizons with your expanded horizons. So wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been a joy, and look forward to more. We're going to meet back up. Lionel and Jason are in the same training, and Jason has been an absolute joy too. He has got an incredible background here. Oksana, you'll resonate with his PhD in transpersonal psychology. He teaches human resources management and work psychology in universities. And I found him online. He's published, he's got on ResearchGate some published papers on workplace spirituality and self-transformation. And also an expanded consciousness background in breathwork, shamanism, self-discovery, the work of Stan Grof. And just beautifully penetrating comments and questions during the training. So like Lionel, a joy to have in this training. And then also his intention to offer personal development and to help people reduce stress in the workplace. And, you know, this corporate university medical, boy, we need to move into there, and these guys are helping us do that. Jason, any comments from you? Love to hear from you.
Well, just to say thank you, Judith, and it's great to be part of the community. It's fantastic, and I really enjoyed the training, the first seminar, and I learned so much, and it was a pleasure to be online with yourself as well. So it was fantastic. So great. And it's really great to be in this space again of looking at transformation and human potential. So I'm looking forward to the next step, seminar 2, etc., and taking the mind mirror into the corporate world, hopefully in the next 12 months. So that's my plan. So
Fantastic.
So thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Look forward to our next meeting. Okay, what's coming in 2021? Well, online trainings, more of these. We don't know what's happening with COVID in this country. We hear that it's going to let up and people are going to have widespread vaccinations by, we hear March, then we hear April, and then we hear September. We don't know. Certainly, online trainings has been a lifesaver. There were a lot of people who were waiting for in-person trainings who couldn't do it. And are going to pick up in 2021. Maybe in-person trainings will come back, but I like the online trainings. It saves people all the cost of traveling and having to put up in hotels, and allows them to stay with their families. So I think that that's going to be kind of a permanent advance for our work. And then as well, I've been talking to Suzanne Temple and Oksana about doing a series of practitioner videos, trainings, and they have all kinds of clever talents that I don't have, and also wonderful resources for creativity. So we're going to make these available to everyone. I don't know how we're going to price them. We don't want to compete with our online trainings, nor do we want to compete with practitioners who are doing in-person trainings, but they'll certainly be affordable, and they'll be able to travel farther to people. I mean, there are even people who can't leave their homes for disability reasons, and they would be able to study this work. And the truth is that self-trainers can participate in seminars 1 and 2. It's just a very in-depth look at brainwave science and techniques. And so it's not just for practitioners, it could be for self-trainers too. So I expect we're going to really expand our reach this way. And then in our next slide, the most exciting thing in the world to me is, you've seen the slide, but just to say a little bit more, just think about it. How many billions of people we can reach. And that is plenty of reason for a Happy New Year. Oksana, you want to just say something about the 2021 programs?
Yes, Judith. I just want to tell everyone that we haven't nailed the programs because we have just rough idea of what we would like to do, and normally the live will show where and how we are moving. Like this year, we had Mind Mirror Portal coming up, and there were a few programs that rolled over from the previous year that we planned but we didn't do. So I just classified programs according to the idea behind, or our logic behind. So of course we would like to share more practical experience from our practitioners, and there will be more case studies presented by Mind Mirror practitioners. I know that Arno and Neddy agreed to do one. Then there will be Jessica Blandin, and I hopefully will do more on mediums training. And then potentially Andrew Tan may do one sometime. And anybody really who is willing to share in whatever form, or even have an open forum devoted to a certain subject, like we can put all of our brains together, say, to discuss how you can work on stress reduction programs for corporations, or anything that may come to your mind and you would like to take to a bigger community. You're very welcome to come to us, and we'll organize an open forum where everybody could participate. Then, of course, we would like to say more about awakened mind training. It was my idea, and I suggested that we really need to make clear what are the ABCs of the awakened mind and its training, because it's not always clear when people hear about neurofeedback. They have certain kind of idea of what they associate with neurofeedback, and they just want maybe to hook up and check the scores and incentives. But yeah, I think it would be worth doing to make it absolutely clear what we do and what are the key kind of points of our awakened mind training, and we'll do it in the classical way. And of course, I had the creative idea of laying it out through the story of Alice in Wonderland as Journey to the Subconscious and our training. So hopefully I'll do it sometime next year. Then, of course, it would be nice to know more about other features of Allista's Mind Mirror as a biofeedback device that, especially again with stress reduction, would be very, very handy to know. And we hope to have programs with experienced biofeedback practitioners on this. And then it's a long brewing idea about neurofeedback basics for absolute beginners, or for Mind Mirror users who are not clinicians, who do not come from the clinical field of neurofeedback, to better understand the basics of the neurofeedback, what other things exist out there, and potentially even what you can still do with Ballistas if you want, because we use Mind Mirror software, but if you look at it broader, we can still do even clinical feedback if you know how to do it. And then more on general high interest topics like psychic healing and reading, and meditation, spirituality, of course, because these topics are very, very popular, and I personally love these kind of open forums and open programs addressed more to general public. So you don't have to have Mind Mirror, but it would be interesting to see how we can apply the knowledge from our Mind Mirror work and awakened mind training to all of these things. And research. It's always good to see our own experiments and research on any of these topics, and read or share the research that is published, and of course interviews and where possible experiments with interest in spiritual awakened people, because sometimes I'm asked, like, why this person, like my teacher, was participating in the program. It's simply for the reason that I think he will be addressing the issues that are very, very relevant to us, to all of us who are interested in meditation, in spirituality, in human evolution, and kind of expanding our vision and understanding of what else and how we can do. So this is what we preliminarily have as a plan for the next year, and the detailed plan will show up on one of the pages so you could see. So I invite you to stay with us, and I really appreciate all of you for watching our programs, for attending our webinars, and of course supporting us financially, because we have some basic costs at least of running websites. And I'll appreciate any possible help if anybody is willing to help me from technical side or with ideas side on the next topics of our webinars. So you're very, very welcome, and you're very appreciated. Thank you for being here today with us.
So I want to just say thank you to Andrew, to Oksana, to all you guys who attend these events, the practitioner trainees, self-trainers, and tune in next year. These will be fascinating programs, everybody. I mean, they're going to be getting into how people responded to their full retinue of the main 5 Anna Wise meditations. And you get to hear it from an inside source. You know, this is what their insight was, this is how it changed their lives, and so forth. So these are fascinating programs that really sort of embody, they're like a micro view of the macro of our training. So would you like to have a talk now about who's doing what, or would you want to watch the video about the magical, mystical, merry hookup? Okay, hookup. I think it's going to be the hookup. This is a short demonstration of the Mind Mirror Dry Electrode Kit. You're going to receive 3 components: the headband, which is already pre-assembled with the lead wires, of which there are 4, and each wire is ended with this adapter. And then you'll also have the saline spray, which you may or may not need. It depends on how long your hair is. And then an extra set of these dry electrodes. You can see these tiny little spikes, and that's what we're actually going to place on the scalp that carry the current. So I'm going to use my already well-worn headset to show you how to attach it. It's very, very simple. My leads are 48 inches. Yours are going to be 18. Otherwise, these kits are identical. The main thing to show you is how to locate it on the head. You want to look for the 2 occipital electrodes that are separated by 1 hole here. Then there are 2 holes on the way to the temporal electrodes. So you just grasp these 2, locate them where they go on the back of the head, wrap the headband around your hair, and then just attach it here in the front. It needs to be snug and secure, but comfortable, so you're able to move hair out of the way. And then you can absolutely flip these behind you, and then just find each wire. You know that this is the right temporal location, and so that tells you to attach this to the right temporal ballistus EEG. And all you have to do to attach it is to grab the sensor wire at the neck and pull off the sensor head, exposing the sensor pin, and then just insert it into this wire. And then you go around the rest of the head doing exactly that until all of the wires are attached. Ending with the ground wire, which is the only one that you do not have a dry electrode kit for, lead for, because it's going to attach separately. As always, you want to clean that spot. I'll place it right here on my chest. Clean it. And then place it, as always, with the wire pointing down so that it doesn't slip or slide or create any entanglement. What you do is use the saline spray. This is called Signa spray, and it's available at almost any medical supply store. All you want to do first is just separate the hair from underneath the electrode, exposing as much bare scalp as possible. It's easy to get your fingers under the headband. Spend a moment doing that. And then just spray the saline into place. I have long hair, so I tend to use a lot of saline. And it tends to run, but if you have short hair, you won't need to use this much. I also have dense hair, that's why. The several sprays. And that's all there is to it. Alrighty, so now let's test the hookup. And you can see that we have green lights in the left and the right brain and the signal quality stoplights. There is a minor bit of noise in the left brain over here. You see this red and now yellow line from moving ambient noise. And you can see the 60 hertz noise, I'm in the US, here in the mind mirror display. But we do have a fix for that. This is a new filter that Steve Clark has included for the benefit of the dry electrode kit, and it's called a low pass filter. You need to download software version 5.5.4 or after, and then tick the low pass filter. And to activate it, close out the mind mirror and then go to Instruments, the mind mirror and mind mirror to open a new one. Now the low pass filter is active. We'll retest. Zoom out a little bit. And if we show the full array of frequencies, you can see that all of these are quashed. These are flat frequencies, everything above 45 hertz now. So any 50 or 60 hertz electrical noise that you might have had in your computer or in your living situation, using the low pass filter will resolve that. That's all there is to it. The last step is simply to disconnect the Velcro and unwrap it from your head. Fluff up your hair and go on with your day. No need to clean up the saline. It's a good idea to wipe down the electrodes with a little bit of water. Otherwise, that's all. Hope you enjoy the new hookup and that it works perfectly well for you. Thanks for watching.
I appreciate that hand, Sandra. I mean, I've only tested it 250 times, you know, so many times. And I mean, Florida Research Instruments, which made this, did not suggest the saline. They suggested that it's either dry electrodes
or you can use this gel. And so when I said it's not runny, well, clearly it's water. So there's a little drip there, but the injectable gel that they had was like our old My Mirror 3 gel, and it just sheathed down your hair. It was just horrendous. So so it took me a long time to start to realize that, wait a minute, maybe the saline would work. And it was news to Florida Instruments, but it does work. And sometimes if you don't have a clear signal, you have to go back, you know, maybe 2 minutes later and put more saline on it. But it does ultimately work. And it's just made a huge difference. It's made me be able to have, for the first time, a self-training practice of my own using those meditations in the meditation center. And it's just awesome. I'm actually thinking about trying to do some enforced symmetry to get rid of some of my left brain dominance. But yeah, it's really, and for $119, I had to, I got a deal from Steve Clark that he has to make those adapters literally by hand. He has to make these little adapters, and he's charging $10 a piece. So I ordered 100 of them and got a deal, and then ordered from Florida Instruments, ordered the boxes, and then so they're coming pre-assembled. And I will say that when you put that clip on the Electrode, I didn't want to say nipple, but that's actually what it is, and you slip it on there, it's really tight, which is why I got them pre-assembled for you, because now once the clip is on the first time, then it's easy to take the clip off and then put it anywhere you want. So I set them up so that there's 2 clips, one, as you saw in the video, one hole apart in the back, and then 2 holes. And then somebody who has a huge, maybe a really big head, might need it to be from the occipitals 3 holes forward. But the truth is that the temporal lobes are actually they go way back here. And Max Cade was hooking up his My Mirrors on T5 and T6. So even if you have a big head, it's probably going to work, should work for you as well, just to have the way I've got it set up. I didn't think it would work for a long time because I ran into a problem with it in that I didn't clean. I never was cleaning them. I had them, I'd gel them, and then I'd saline them, and then I'd gel them and saline, and it really gunked up the electrodes. But if you're only using saline, which you will be, you don't have to clean them at all. Now it's going to make, you know, you saw that my headband had saline salt on it. Well, who cares? The only thing, if you take it apart, you don't want to get water into the leads, the clips and the leads, because the little clip actually is the conducting this brainwave signal from the spike electrode. But they're super comfortable. I mean, you don't even know they're there. Even if you tighten, you know, you can get the headband too tight, but it doesn't need to be tight for them to work properly. So hallelujah. So now is our time to see who wants to talk about what 2020 was, or whether you just want to leave it in the dust behind you, or about 2021. You know, you've been looking at all our accomplishments for 2020 and our big plans for 2021. What about you? Anybody? Everybody?
Hey, it's Sandra. First of all, massive congratulations on all the testing for the electrodes. That's incredible. Just quickly, are you finding that it's just so much quicker to do that hookup? I mean, you said the video, it looked longer, but it's just quicker, less messy, signal quality's there. Yeah. So for me, I'm going to do some more of the meditations, like your evolutionary path, just to see what is ahead for me. Coming from the corporate world, of course, that's where I'm naturally inclined to go and do the work. And of course, having the experience of how McKinsey's adapted the work gives me a good platform for that. So I'd love to share that with you so that you can see it for those guys who are interested in making the transition to corporate. But I also live in an area where people have got lots of money but are super stressed. So I think I'll be attracting a lot of them. And I think people are just really interested to see what's going on with their brains and the insights that it gives them. With each of the 5 people that I hooked up, they all had key insights. So that just makes me want to share it with more people. So I don't know what it's like. I'll be doing more meditation, get the insights, and I look forward to share where I'm up to with you guys next. Sandra, I'm super happy to help out these. So thanks.
Thank you for that, Sandra. It's so wonderful to have you on this work. You know, those corporate abilities and insights, you know, they matter. You know, I'm just doing a wing and a prayer here. I'm a journalist by trade, and I don't have that corporate overlay, no business background whatsoever. So all of you who are coming from that kind of background are a wonderful asset for us, resource, and thank you for your presence. I see Andrea Pennington's here. Hello, Andrea. Are you
Hi,
there?
everyone.
Hey.
Yes,
I hesitate to ask, what about your plans for 2021? Because knowing you've probably got a list of 200 things on it.
yeah, it's a little bit crazy. Well, I obviously want to finish my practitioner training. As you know, we started last year a documentary film about burnout and resilience. And I would very much like to shoot with you, Judith, and with Arna, just to show people that all of these wonderful psychology and energy healing tricks that work for recovering from burnout, we can actually measure what's going on. And I think that'll give a big boost to Mind Mirror and all the wonderful work that we are doing. In the meantime, I have partnered up with one of my colleagues out of Denmark, and we're bringing the work that I do with burnout recovery and resilience training to a health technology platform and an app, so that it will be available for the general public. And for those who want it, especially corporate executive types, we want to be able to offer Mind Mirror sessions as well. So that wouldn't be the mass market, you know, just get the app type, but we do have this desire to get into corporate. So very, very happy to connect with all of you who have that in your background. I think it was it you, Jason, as well as Sandra, who are looking to do a lot of corporate next year. I am as well.
Thanks, Andrew. That sounds really good. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Judith. Thank you, Oksana.
Thank you. And Andrew is Mr. Corporate. He's going to be Mr. Corporate with his Asia Pacific version of Institute for the Awakened Mind. So, yeah, hopefully there will be some networking going on in that field. Very exciting. Arna, what are you doing for 2021? How are you going to break out of corporations?
Yeah, I'm still noticing when I make plans, I make the universe laugh, and so I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm getting nicely guided. So the plans so far are, I have just finished a training on people with Kundalini crisis. That was by Bonnie Greenwell. You know, I've mentioned her, and I think she's 78 or 79 and decided to train others on her experience with more than 5,000 people who went through Kundalini crisis, which is tough. I was one of them in 2016, and it took me out of my usual life, ordinary life, completely, forever. But 1 year of deep suffering. It's very serious if it happens to you. If your energy channels are not open for that type of energy, the body is getting into a crisis mode, and doctors won't find anything. But you never know, is it serious? Well, it's always serious, but is it a disease, or is it just that energy which you need to learn to cycle and get under control? So I've been trained with that. And I've worked with a few people so far, unfortunately not yet with a mind mirror, but I do have some hypothesis on what's going on in their mind. I manage actually to read minds now more and more during my healing sessions, and I was quite accurate when I double checked that, which is fun. So based on that, there's a little hypothesis of what's going on with their gamma. And I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I want to check. You know how the universe plays out. There are 2 people right now within 1 week calling me from Berlin. So they're even next door. And once I have the mind mirror running, hopefully tomorrow, and once we are out of the very strict lockdown we are currently in, we're going to hook them up. And yeah, it's hypothesis testing about how gamma affects that, and how we can then hopefully get them into a trained gamma. So that is a very curious topic. Bonnie Greenwell connected me. I haven't followed up yet with Andrew Newberg. You probably know he's obviously interested in that topic too. So there's some stuff going on which I'm really excited about. The other part is my clients, my healing clients, and I'm still not promoting it, but I'm lucky to have people like Andrea and others referring people to me, and more and more of them are asking for, why don't you train what you do? And I couldn't, because I did not know what I was doing, to be honest. But I asked some of my teachers like Cindy Dale, and I learned a lot from Judith on what I'm doing with looking at the brainwaves and understanding how it works. So I'm probably going to offer a training on not necessarily what I do, but on trying to help people find their own way how to heal. I don't think it's necessary to know, often it's not necessary to know what I'm doing, it's to find their way in being connected to the field. And the mind mirror, as far as I can tell today, will play a major role in that.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Thank you for that.
No, thank you.
Looking forward to hearing about it in future.
Yeah, we will see what's happening, but I keep you updated, of course. And I'm looking
Now
forward to the ends, because that was still my biggest struggle, to hook people up fast and reliable. So yeah, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and you know, this is a little PS on that hookup. So I said in the video, and I think it's true, that the spike electrodes are slightly more vulnerable to 50, 60 hertz noise than is the ballistas. However, if you're producing gamma already, then the noise is lost inside of your gamma. Now, if you have a extended 50 or 60 hertz band outside of your brain waves, well, now that's going to affect your scores. So that's when you would almost have to use, if you want accurate scores, you would almost have to use the low pass filter to knock out all the high frequencies, including the noise. That's why I asked Steve Clark to put that low pass filter in to kill that noise. So if you have people that you want to measure on the spike electrode setup who are producing gamma, you have to find an extremely quiet place to hook them up.
Yeah, and that's a challenge too. I noticed that my new place is not that silent. There must be a lot of noise. Yeah. So far, I wasn't even able to get a green up here. But I think that was for a different reason. So tomorrow I will know more. There was a bit concerned when I heard about the 45 hertz, but it's yeah, I think we're finding ways around it. And you probably remember from the 7 people which I had hooked up during my training, 6 had an extreme gamma, so I'm obviously attracting them. So I guess I have to find a solution for that, but we will see what's going to happen. Somehow I'm not concerned. It will be fine.
We just keep dancing. I mean, we're not the only one.
we're the only ones that are measuring. Neurofeedback is measuring mostly 30 hertz and below. You know, we're the ones who are measuring such high frequencies and thus have to keep dancing around 50, 60 hertz noise. But I mean, I do find places in my house, mostly outside the house, that's completely free of noise. But I do find that if you just keep spraying that saline on there, I mean, you do end up with pretty wet hair. If you have to do 2 rounds, but by the 3rd round, I don't see any noise at all, even in a noisy area. So, you know, hopefully you'll give me feedback about your experience of it, and we'll all understand better how it's working for everybody.
In the middle of Berlin, there's some noise, and actually,
Oh, I think
the third
Times
project
Square there.
I'm
Beautiful
probably
city.
working on is a little bit different situation than Sandra's situation. I'm living in an area with a lot of people with no money. That's Berlin. But they are happy, most of them, I hope. But as we have so many refugees here, and that's still one of the topics which we always discuss, Judith, and there's of course a large Jewish community still being here, but struggling for probably last few years more than before. And that's close to my heart and hurts me a lot. And I don't know yet exactly how the project looks like, but I'm sure something will be coming there. So I'm very curious about what it is.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Does somebody else want to share? What's up for you for 2021? Lionel. Lionel, whatever.
It all works the same. So if you recall, when we were doing our training, I asked working with surgeons and kind of see what's going on in there as they're doing their deal. I got approval from the Department of Surgery. So obviously you were correct, where I can't be in the OR hooking them up while they're working on an actual human, but we will do a simulation outside. So currently I've compiled a cardiothoracic surgeon. I've compiled a very good orthopedic surgeon who's like world renowned, and then a general vascular surgeon. So I have about 3 surgeons right now who are very interested to know what is happening in their brain, and each one believes that whatever's happening in their brain should be happening in everyone else's brain. Their brains are the correct ones. It's going to be fantastic to see who wins this, because they're all surgeons but different disciplines, so it's going to be interesting.
That's fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. We better hope, for their sakes, that they're operating in peak performance, not to mention the sakes of their patients.
It's fascinating to see if they have gamma while they're doing surgery. Are they in alpha? What do they go into delta? What is it as they're concentrating? What is happening up here? I'm kind of fascinated to see.
Better be peak performance. If it's not, we would certainly want to help them because under the knife, ooh, that's fascinating. I bet Andrea Pennington will be interested in hearing more about that too. Yeah, fantastic. On it goes.
I will
Thank
share
you for that. Anybody else? Any little old thing? Paula, may I ask, are you going to get more animals for 2021? I've seen a dog and a cat here.
It's a zoo. It's a zoo. But what Andre was saying, or Arne was saying, you know, I found that to be so true for me. Like when I came to you, my whole intent of learning the mind mirror was just for fun for me, because I had been doing QEEGs and neurofeedback training on a clinical population. And I was always very interested in the spiritual side of neurofeedback, and to talk about that at a conference with neurofeedback clinicians was, you know, they looked at you side-eyed, you know. And so when I came to you, I was going to do it kind of on my weekends with, you know, a meditative population, and it was just for fun for me. And so when COVID shuttered my doors, I got the same week that I got an email from the managers of my building that I couldn't bring clients in for neurofeedback, I got a phone call from this residential treatment facility. And so I went up there to be their nurse, handle their meds, and to do neurofeedback on and biofeedback on their clients. And the one day, and I had talked to one of the clients about the meditations, because he was into meditation. I said to him, you know, oh, you would love the meditations that I do. I think you'd be really interested. And he went to the administrators and said, oh, can she run our meditation this week? And I did that week's meditation. And the next day they came to me and said, can you do meditations every week? And so I found that, you know, even though I thought this was all going to be fun, I actually transferred it over to another clinical population. And so I try not to make any plans for, I think I will find my way depending on what the universe is showing me. But I can't overemphasize the changes that the meditations have made in this population.
Do you want to do a program on it?
Sure.
People would love to hear that.
Sure.
Yeah, I see nods everywhere. Yes, please.
We do a different meditation every week. And of course, because some of the population is there so many weeks in a row, you know, some it's 3 months, 4 months stay. It's a long-term treatment facility. And so we will do repeats, you know, for some of the guys that have been there a long time. And it's interesting that when we do the animal meditation, the animal they start out with and the animal that they leave with, and the insight that they've had along the way. They're incredible. The meditations just on themselves, because you can't hook all, 12, 16, 18 guys up, but just the meditations on their own, the evolution that you see with the men.
I'd give anything to attend that program.
So what type of population is that, Paula?
It's all males. They're usually from about 18 to 50. Most of them, I would say probably at least 80% of them are opiate, have gone through opiate withdrawal when they come into our facility. I mean, there are some other, like we get some that have an issue with alcohol, but usually it's on top of the opiate addiction. Multiple, drug abuse, drugs of choice. But it's all male, and we get them like fresh out of their acute withdrawal. A lot of them are on comfort meds, and initially, I was kind of hired to help manage the comfort meds along with the neurofeedback, and to see if I could be of assistance in weaning them off those meds. And we're pretty successful with that. We do have, some recidivism, but for the most part, like once they leave our facility, they go to a partial hospitalization program. And, we've had a lot of success. But I think that the meditations are a key component to get them to connect with their spiritual side.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That was what that Peniston study said so many years ago, as that was for offenders, that their recidivism rate was 67%, then it went down to 24% after they did 30 neurofeedback sessions.
Right.
And the key was that it warmed them up. They were cold. They were, their neural thought and emotion was traveling neural pathways to the right prefrontal cortex, the seat of rage, sorrow, and other negative emotions. That's where, in those studies, they found out, and have since confirmed, that after meditation, it warms up the brain and the heart so that they start processing the left prefrontal cortex of positive emotions. So now, you know, that's a, I don't want to say it this way, but it is a Sandra Jekyll and Hyde personality.
Well, he did alpha theta training on his population. And I see these guys, almost every guy that I see comes in with low alpha. And so I usually try to start them off on the animal meditation. And some of them, you know, the first couple of weeks, they'll fall asleep. And some of them, it's the best sleep that they've had. So I leave them sleep, you know, and then we try it the next week and see, are they able to reach a meditative state and visualize an animal? 100% of the population, unless they leave on their own, which most of them can't because they're there because of legal issues, by the time they leave, they're able to meditate and visualize.
That's definitely a program, and it sounds like a research paper to me too. Thank you. Thank you so much, Paula. Anybody else? 2021 dreams you want to share?
Well, I just wanted to know, how do I get the new the dry hookup? I didn't see a link or anything.
Just send me an email. Tell me you want it. I'll send you an invoice.
Okay.
Alston, are you sure you need it? We have the same haircut. We could use the other one works pretty good. The little
It works okay. Yeah, it works okay. I actually get my hair cut about twice as frequently as I would otherwise because I want to get a good hookup. But yeah, let my hair grow. It won't grow that much longer, but you know, I can get it to grow a little bit more with the dry hookup.
I'm familiar.
Dry-ish. It might be dry for you. Let's hope.
Just a small point. Thanks, Judith. Is there a shelf life with the spikes?
That's a good question. There probably is. I haven't found it yet. I suspect that you would only know that your electrodes have been salinated enough to lose their coating when you can either see that visually or you don't get a good hookup. But there are 25 electrodes in the pack. They were supplying something else, and I talked them into giving us more electrodes instead of that something else. So yeah, we are only using 4 at a time, so should last a lot of hookups.
That's great.
If I would say I can say that I've tested the spikes with fresh spikes and saline only at least 10 to 12 times, and they're still going strong. So
Brilliant.
it might be even longer. And the manufacturer doesn't know because they've never used them with saline before.
So we use 4 and there's 25 in the pack.
Yes,
Brilliant. That's great.
it lasts.
That's good to know.
How about you, Alston? What's up for you this year?
This year, I want to do the self-practitioner. I want to learn more about the mind mirror, and I've been using it the same way for, I guess I've had it since 14, or I think it was 14, might be 15 when I started using it. But I'd like to learn more. I train the same way. I want to learn, you know, what the other training options are and why they're there, and you know, and I'm also doing an anti-aging study. I'm going to be a participant in hopefully a historic anti-aging program in Texas. So they're going to take, you know, all kinds of blood samples and everything else and look at these markers of aging and see if they're, you know, higher or lower, you know, before and after it's a 1-month protocol. And they've had success. This is actually a follow-up study to validate the previous study. So that's a big thing for me this year.
Fantastic. Is it true or what? This is one interesting community. Would you agree? Yeah. Very interesting people. Garth, anything from you before we go?
I'm doing catch up. This is a year to do catch up with all this for self-training. That's my plan.
Fantastic. You got some beautiful gamma. Yeah.
I need
Be fun to see that.
We'll keep working on it.
Are you doing any more of your intuition work?
No,
Spiritualism, psychic work?
Not directly with people. I do it indirectly during a session when I'm working with somebody in the clinic I'm in. But I'm not doing it as a stated, let's have a intuitional consultation. I pay attention to what goes on in my head and then try and translate that into whatever topic we're working on.
So you're doing in-person sessions with clients?
I'm doing both in office and on the phone, both.
Yeah, and your population is what?
Adult psychiatric pain, chronic pain, trauma, crisis of some sort in their life at the time. I've got one spectrum adolescent that's 17. So enough to keep me busy at this stage of my life and career.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Gary, were you going to add something?
I was just going to ask Alliston if he'd had seen the latest in the hyperbaric oxygenation workshops or training for anti-aging. Because I just read a report on that, I guess it's fairly current, that 60 sessions of HBO resulted in almost a 40% lengthening of the telomeres and about a 20% drop in senescent cells. So that sounded very encouraging in terms of anti-aging research.
Yeah, I had a glimpse at that. I'm familiar with hyperbaric oxygen therapy. I've never done it. My naturopath told me that he has a unit in his office, and this was just before COVID, and I was going to start using it this year, and that didn't quite work out. I could have still used it, I guess, but everything else in my life and everybody else's life just went topsy-turvy. But yeah, that is very encouraging. But this protocol is mainly lifestyle. It's a lot of exercise. It does include meditation. I'm not sure what type of meditation will be included, but they do find that lengthens telomeres also. And I've seen where where this was done on TM, but I think people who did TM on a regular basis had about brains that were seen as being about 10 years younger. And I forget how long they had to do it to get that. But the one the study I'm going to be a part of, it's exercise, diet, 15 glasses, 15 8-ounce cups of juice, very specific juices.
Oh.
And there's and also there's supplementation. So that's probably not all of it, but that's a big part of it. And I think there's also like art therapy, and they're trying to put everything together, and but also not doing things like hyperbaric that aren't available to the average person. So it's 2 weeks on campus, and then there's 2 weeks off campus where, because there's kind of no point in it if you have to be with supervision and in a controlled environment. They want you to be able to take home these habits. And so you get the blood test. When you get there, you get the blood test the day just before you leave. And then at the end of the 2 weeks off campus to see, how well the people are able to follow through on the protocol when they're home and back to work and all that.
That's fascinating. Austin, let us know how that works for you. We might all want to jump on that bandwagon.
Well, I told them that I'm going to work as hard as I can to follow the protocol, but I can't be under 16 when I come home because that's the age to drive. So.
That's wonderful. Such an interesting group of people. I'm so excited for all the ways that you're using the mind mirror for yourself and others. Man, we're going and blowing. And Andrew,
I want to close with a tribute to Institute for the Awakened Mind Asia Pacific and the Chinese trainings. And a thanks also for the portal. It's just so wonderful to be able to pop on those electrodes. Yes, let's all unmute us, Oksana, so we can give it to Andrew. Let's give it to him good.
Yeah, massive
Yeah.
congratulations.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
For your support.
Thank you, Andrew. Thank you.
Fantastic. I mean, really, to be able to put those dry electrodes on, go to the portal, listen to a meditation, and it's all goes straight into the portal, and it automatically, and you can, by the time you're unhooked and get a glass of water, it's all data's right there. I mean, it's revolutionized this work. Everything that we've done here has, and we hope that the evolutionary revolution continues in 2021. And thank you all for your part in it. Thank you for being here today as well.